YouTube? It's Kel. I am back with it's going to be a quicker video tonight, but I wanted to follow up. It's funny, some of these videos I do, they give me good ideas for the follow-up videos, and so tonight I'm going to do a follow-up video because I used the term enmeshed boundaries, I think it was yesterday, and I think when I said that, I kind of use hand gestures like, if you have enmeshed boundaries in your home, it's kind of like if this is a person and this is a person. Enmeshed boundaries are kind of like this, whereas healthy boundaries should be kind of like you have a sense of self, they have a sense of self, and you come together and you bring your sense of self and you create intimacy, but you're not overlapping into like trying to control each other and having my feelings be your feelings and your feelings be my feelings. And so this is enmeshed boundaries. We're going to get into it, but basically there's 3 types of boundaries essentially that you see in families. And we're just going to go over a quick overview so that if I ever use these terms in the future, you'll also know what I'm talking about. And it can maybe help you if you're a parent and you're creating boundaries with your kids. So the first one that we want to define is healthy boundaries. Okay, so when I drew diagrams to kind of help you understand this. They are the worst diagrams, let me just say, and also my handwriting on these has never been worse because my nails are long, but regardless, you're gonna get the point. So in these diagrams, we're gonna just assume it's a family of 4, so we'll just assume 2 parents, 2 kids, and the circles represent a person. Okay, and when I say a person, I also mean like a sense of self. So boundaries, you'll see, so like let me give you an example so you can see it. Okay, in the healthy, that says healthy, you probably can't even tell, but in the healthy version, all of the circles are touching, and where they're touching, it creates intimacy, because when you bring your sense of self to the table and I bring my sense of self, we're honest about what we're feeling, we're honest about what we will accept and what we won't accept, we're honest about our needs, we're honest about what's going on in our lives. That creates intimacy, right? And so as long as I'm not trying to control you, I'm not blurring your needs with my needs, I'm not blurring your feelings with my feelings, and I also am very clear about what I need and want, then our boundaries as a family will be great, because we're going to know what's going on in each other's lives. We're going to know essentially, how each other feels and the big events that are happening in each other's lives. But we're not going to be overstepping into trying to control each other, trying to, getting too involved in each other's lives to the point where you don't have individuality. When really the term is differentiation. You want, obviously, kids to be able to be kids, you want parents to be able to be parents, and not have it be just like one family blob, which we're gonna see. So when all of that is working right, you have when healthy boundaries are present in a family, you have healthy intimacy between the family members, and you feel like you know them, you feel like you know their feelings, but it's because they're expressing and communicating it. You're not left to read signals, it's not no passive aggressive behavior. So that's healthy boundaries, okay? Now, there's kind of 2 other types, and once I say these, you probably will be like, oh, I know families like that, both ways. So the next one is called detached boundaries, okay? And this is what it looks like in diagram form. So we'll just can you see that? It's the 4, so those are 4 people, right? But they're all separate. And it's called detached boundaries. Now, that is a family where they don't talk to each other about what's really going on in their lives. When they are at home, they're kind of all in each other's, like separate and alone, kind of off by themselves. No real family time. And if there is, it's very shallow, surface level stuff. And everybody kind of keeps it at very surfacey, small talk. No one really knows, like if someone had a bad day, no one would know. It would just be, and then it wouldn't be a big deal, and everybody would kind of go off in their own direction and leave everybody to kind of deal with it on their own. That's what's called detached boundaries. And certain cultures, you'll see this more. I won't name them, but and certain cultures, you'll also see what the one we're going to study next is called enmeshed boundaries. And both of them have their pros and cons, but detached is obviously, when you see a family like that, it looks a lot more calm on the surface. Like enmeshed boundaries, when we're going to talk about next, looks very dramatic, right? Everybody's in each other's face, everybody's trying to control each other. It can be very reactive, so it can be very, quote, dramatic, or, you know, more chaotic. And detached looks calm, and, you know, it looks, quote, healthier on the surface. On the other hand, the intimacy level is low. No one really knows each other. You know, no one knows if something is stressing you out. If you had, you know, if your kids had something really going on with them, this would be a family scenario where like the parents might not know, you know. So it's just basically like people don't really talk very much at all about what's really going on. So that's detached family boundaries, okay? Then you have, this is the last one. Enmeshed, and as you can see, there are 4 circles there, and they're all chaotic, like one big blob, but there's, you know, they're kind of all over each other. That is when you have a family that is in each other's faces, they're in each other's business, they're really trying to, like, they're controlling each other. No one's communicating effectively. Everyone's focus is on other people and not themselves. And they don't know how to communicate. They don't know how to identify their own feelings, and they don't know how to communicate their own feelings. And so you have a lot of like blurred boundaries, blurred sense of responsibility, blurred sense of feelings, blurred sense of control. So it ends up very blurry, but also like, you know, it can be a very chaotic upbringing. So and like I said with the hand gesture, it's like that's what it feels like, you know, instead of your sense of self and another person's sense of self meeting. Enmeshed boundaries is like just, again, overly trying to control. You might see this with like helicopter parents, or, you know, that can be a lot of times in like addict families. You can see that a lot because the kids might take on an overdeveloped sense of responsibility for the addiction, or sometimes if the parents are parents of an addict, they'll take on an overdeveloped sense of responsibility for the addiction or whatnot. So that is what is called enmeshed boundaries. And just one last thing. So what is the treatment for this if you realize you're in an extreme? Really, the treatment is learning how to kind of, again, you're going to hear this a lot from me, but pulling back and focusing on yourself, and learning to identify your own feelings, your own boundaries, and expressing your feelings well. If you're having a bad day, you know, learning how to share that, but also, and then learning self-care, not expecting others to, you know, always comfort you. So, but another thing I wanted, if you are a parent, just 2 little quick parenting tips to develop just, you know, good expressive communication from kids. If you have young kids and you're trying to develop good boundaries, good healthy boundaries, one of the ways that can happen is by helping kids have a feelings vocabulary. Again, I'll do a video on that another time. What is a feelings vocabulary? But I mean, again, it's just the range of feeling words that you can use. And one really good way you can do that is by, if you have dinner every night together, you can go around the table. And I recommend that you start to have your kids, and you do this too, you share, today or right now, I'm feeling a blank feeling on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most I could feel that feeling, and 1 being the least. I'm at an 8, you know, or I'm at a 6, or, you know, so like I'm happy at a 7, or if you're kind of stressed or anxious, you could say that at like a 3, or, you know, whatever. So it's really just helps you. If you ask every day, it gets kids good at identifying their own feelings. And in the long run, that is what is going to help with having healthy boundaries, because when people can identify their feelings and express them effectively, it ends up creating that sense of self that then someone can take into a relationship and know how to navigate boundaries a lot better. Instead of like, well, gosh, I know what they feel, but I don't know how I feel. And I don't, you know, like I can read everybody else's feelings, but I don't know how I feel. So that, I would say, I recommend the feelings question to kids around the table and yourself, you know, just for something fun to talk about too. And also, this doesn't really have to do with boundaries, but while you're doing that with kids, another fun thing you can do is ask them for their high and low of the last day. So again, what this does, it gets them to focus on themselves and their experience, and also just communicating with their loved ones what's going on with them, you know. So again, it's a healthy sharing, it's a healthy intimacy, you know, process, just to kind of get good at sharing what's going on in your life with your loved ones. And so that some people, again, they can say in the detached family that I mentioned, you know, they might not, if they get into a relationship, they might not know how to share significant events of their day. You know, they might think that's not important or whatever. So it also can get kids better and good at storytelling, which I feel like is a very good skill to have in our society. So and you can even have a contest of like who tells the best story every day. So on that high and low, you know, so there's multiple ways you can go, but I feel like in terms of developing a sense of self with kids so that they later have good boundaries, the feelings exercise, and then just asking them what their high and low of the day was is a great dinner time activity. So I just wanted to throw those things out there. And again, that's just a little blip. I'll be doing more videos along the way. I have a whole list of them, and but I wanted to follow up on the video that I did before. So I hope that this video finds you well, and I will see you next time.